We would be honored if you would join us.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the Reliquary, where we will be checking out relics from the Star Wars universe. If it looks like it could be taken right out of the Star Wars universe and put into my hands, I want to take a look at it. All of that being said, this is video number 1. I don't know how this is going to go very well, but I hope that you guys are going to help me make this something more spectacular.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations.
I went through a lot of different review videos for different products that I wanted to get, and I found them really entertaining, so I'm hoping that we're going to have a little more fun on this particular channel. So, with that in mind, this happened just the other day. It's here. Okay, here we go. We're gonna open this puppy up. Not that puppy. This puppy. Puppy. All right, puppy. We're gonna open this thing up here. Let's see. We gotta go. So this is my first fully active lightsaber. Oh yeah. What's that? Oh, are you curious? You want to see what's inside? We're gonna see what's inside. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. Woo! That is cool. Oh, what's that, Taxi? What is that? What is that? he's interested. It showed up, and I've had a few days to play with it. Here we are. The Guardian from UltraSabers. This is my absolute first fully customized active lightsaber. The first one that I've ever had that has the soundboard and the LEDs and everything else. It is a basic build, and this is kind of what I'm gonna have fun with this particular channel, is that I'm new to all this stuff. I'm brand spanking new to all of this stuff. I don't know jack about Obsidian V3 versus Obsidian V4. All I know is it's cool. It's just freaking cool. Few things to talk about here. I did do my homework before purchasing this particular lightsaber. I wanted to know what it is that I was looking for. A couple comments that were kind of universal, and I do tend to agree with them. One is its size. It is not a small lightsaber. If you look at any of the pictures of Obi-Wan Kenobi in episode 1, which is what this lightsaber is based on, when he's holding on to it, he's got one hand up here and the other hand is right here, and basically the only thing that you can see is the pommel. Go! So lengthwise, this thing is ginormous. It's probably about 1.5 to 1 3/4 times size that it should be. It is a beast. Now, first impressions is, of course, the pommel is UltraSaber's pride and joy when it comes to this thing. They can't stop boasting about how proud they are over this pommel, and they have every right to be. Again, this is my very first lightsaber, so I have no other lightsabers to compare it to for sound. The way that this is designed, the sound is like the speaker is way up in here, and this provides a massive echo chamber similar to what a guitar, you pluck the string and it reverberates and it makes a bigger sound. So that all in mind, this thing is scary loud. I've got a standard blade plug in here. I did get Guardian Blue. Has these nice little viewports for the light to kind of leak through. And as you can see from the flare on the camera lens, I mean, it is bright. It is a bright blade. I'm gonna wait a second here. It's garbage day. With a garbage truck right outside my door. All right, so the blade comes with, this one is a standard 36-inch blade, but the size of the hilt being so large creates the illusion that the blade itself is shorter than it should be. It feels like a short blade. The first thought that kind of comes to mind is one of those larger blades that someone like General Krell from the Clone Wars would use.
Dare to attack a Jedi!
Think like Darth Maul before he activates the second side of the lightsaber. Makes me think of Lord of the Rings, the first episode where they're first seen with the elves, You know, they're doing that thing. And bear with me, I am not a lightsaber duelist. This is my first blade. Getting back to it. Color is interesting. Guardian Blue, which is Obi-Wan's standard color. And it is bright. You can kind of see, it gives you a really good shot of how bright it is at the base here. And then it does, and this is natural for any LED lightsaber that I've seen, naturally kind of slowly progresses towards the end. It's a little bit faded. From a visual standpoint, from where I'm looking, we're looking at maybe a overall 50% degradation in light from the base to the tip. Now, I did go with, again, with flash on flash with white, and it's not too bad. It does have the ability to do the, what do you call it, where you get stuck together, you know? You just kind of tap it and
Funny. You need a teacher!
Yeah, anyways.
I'm enjoying this far too much.
One thing that I've noticed with a lot of lightsaber blades, there's a few things that I see that are consistent that I myself, as a wannabe collector, would like to see.
Do tell.
One, I understand that it is as a solid plastic. It is meant for dueling, and it is intended for dealing with all that kind of stuff. Does the illusion of having a lightsaber in your hand a bit of a disservice when you can see that reflection, like my garage lights reflecting on the plastic shine. Now, you can get day glow blades. I haven't, again, my first one, so I'm able to check them out at another time. Even when active, a little bit there, up here, you can see a little bit that even when my lightsaber is turned on, given the right angle, you can still see light reflected from other sources. I would like to see somebody come up with a blade to where that doesn't happen, so that the blade, there's just a pure glow from the blade.
I'm curious. The more we know, the better.
The other thing too is that a Guardian Blue is a fairly dark blue. It does not permeate very well. I have another lightsaber on order from Vader's Vault that is in a cyan, which is going to be a slightly brighter tone, and I'm going to be doing a comparison just from brightness, just on colors alone. The second thing I'd like to see when it comes to blades and their design is if you look at kind of the more up-to-date movies, lightsaber blade tends to have a bit of a taper. So I would love to see someone design a blade that is a single solid piece with a conical tip that starts at a 1-inch base and slowly tapers off to about a 3/4 inch. Just to give it that nice little if it exists and I don't know about it, please somebody should send me a message, hit a comment below, send me a link, whatever the case may be. I would love to see it.
Leave that to me.
Overall, this thing is beautiful. I cannot argue with the engineering that they put into this. A couple of things that I looked out for, video reviews had said, one, it's super heavy. Yeah, it is. I just kind of sat there in my living room and was just kind of, doing this, just kind of getting a feel for it. Not doing much. After about 2 or 3 minutes, my arm and shoulder was just exhausted. It is not a light piece of hardware. The internals of it, I definitely could do some work with it. The emitting LED is kind of floating in here. So what I've managed to do is use this greebly here to lock it down. Just kind of, unscrews and screws back in just the same way the blade plug, retention screw, that's what I'm looking for, the retention screw. So I've used that to keep the LED projector in place. The rest of the electronics are just a simple wiring that goes all the way down to about here where they've got the circuit board and everything else installed. Now to get it out, you kind of have to do this, and it doesn't have a recharging port, but it's simply just this. There's no chassis, and the diameter of the speaker system back here very closely matches what's in there, but it does have a bit of float to it. It does give a bit of a rattle when the blade is off. When the blade tends to be in there, it kind of makes things a little more snug. The concern that I have with that is I would have liked the LED to be solid in place and further back, allowing this particular greebly and the retention screw itself to work in uniform to hold the blade nice and snug. Now the blade comes down to about here, so you can see them shining through. but it's only being held in place by this one retention screw, which according to almost every single review that I've seen, tends to be enough. But it does tend to wobble in its own frame. Again, I have no training whatsoever in lightsaber combat and dueling. What little training I do have is fencing for about 2 semesters in high school. Literally, that's all the experience I have. I want to be more fencing. This definitely is not conducive to fencing at all. However, if you wanted to do something more robust and kind of more old school Jedi, you can do that. It's got that nice, Qui-Gon Jinn, what is it, the stance of a hawk.
Let's call it La Posta di Falcone, the guard of the hawk. You strike from high, like this.
When I saw Liam Neeson in Kingdom of Heaven, and he's got the sword up, and he's just like, "Come on, defend yourself!" Oh, it's just Qui-Gon. But anyways, I'm gonna give this saber 7 out of 10. I cannot deny the engineering beauty that is in this thing. There's just a few things here and there that I would have liked to have seen differently, such as the size. The proportion between the pommel and the emitter, the proportion is correct from everything that I've seen on films. The proportions and ratios are correct. It's just that overall, it's about 1.5 to 1 3/4 times the size it should be. 7 out of 10. I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. I was super excited, super excited when I opened the box. I mean, just check this out. It's here. I'm still super excited to have this thing. Yeah! I'm just a little bit disappointed. That's all. It's still super fun though. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Welcome to the Reliquary. I'm just here in my garage. This is video number 1. Next time we've got coming up the Death Star plans, and we've got some coaxium from Solo, a Star Wars story. So we're going to check those out in the next couple videos. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was entertaining as I intended it to be. But we'll find out as the time goes on. Videos will improve, quality will improve. If you have, and this is kind of the big kicker, if you've got a replica that you think is worthy of the Star Wars universe, if you think that if I put it in my hand, then it feels like I'm actually holding on to that piece of Star Wars history, I want to know about it.
That lightsaber, it belongs to me.
Send me the link. I don't care if you are professional, like the guys that work at UltraSabers or Vader's Vault. I don't care if you're an amateur with a 3D printer. Show me what you got, and we'll set something up, and I'll do a review for you. Absolutely. So we'll check out the Death Star plans next time. And the coaxium the time after that.
We bribe our way through.
So that's 3 videos, and then hopefully we'll get some more things in between. I also have a lightsaber from Vader's Vault coming in August, so we're still a few months away, so hopefully I'll have things to review between now and then. Anyways, it's been fun. Hopefully this was entertaining for you and educational at the same time. Would I recommend somebody getting this thing? Yeah. For the price point, I don't know. It is my first lightsaber. My first answer initially would be yes, it's worth it. However, I want to see what other sabers are like in comparison and see what their quality is based on price point. But for give or take $350 US, not bad at all. I am very happy with it, and this is just, it's gonna be fun.
Memory restoration complete. R2, have you heard?
Well, this is a good side-by-side comparison just to show you the size difference between a Graflex from Empire Strikes Back and Obi-Wan's Episode 1 lightsaber.
This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster. An elegant weapon, but a more civilized age.
Now, this is about as accurate as you can get. This is an actual Graflex. This is from Roman Props. It's got official 3-cell battery Graflexes. It's battered, it's worn, it's missing a couple parts, but it's about as accurate as you can get for The Empire Strikes Back. So you can see the size difference here. Like, I'm holding this in one hand. It's fairly comfortable. I mean, comfortable relatively speaking. If anybody's ever held one of these things in their hands, then they should know that Daisy Ridley gets a hell of a lot of more credit than she deserves, because swinging this sucker around is awkward as hell. But I just wanted to show you a side-by-side comparison. By contrast, Obi-Wan's is absolutely huge.
It's too big to be a space station.
Thanks for joining the Reliquary, and we will be back next time.